Okay. Hey, can you guys hear me? Hello? Yes, I see one person responded. Uh, fucking hell. Okay, nice. If you forgive me, I have no fucking idea how the streaming thing works, so. Alright. Okay, first of all, nice to see there's actually some people here. Uh, yeah, I want carrot too. Um, if you can, just some appreciation that I actually managed to get this stupid rat animation to loop in DaVinci Resolve. It was a real pain in the ass. Um, but let's actually get into it. So, as per the description, I just want to just talk about what's been going on. Just talk about um, my my reaction to the current chapters and what I think about the future of the story and the future for this channel. So, uh, let's talk first of all about what everything has been talking about, which is, well, other than Hiyori being racist, which is Yamato, right? So, despite everyone thinking that Yamato was going to join, uh, Oda did a 180 degrees, and Yamato just suddenly decided to stay. So, first of all, um, even though my theory was with a certain 13 involved Yamato joining, I would have gladly taken the L on Yamato. Firstly, because and this is a bit controversial, I guess, but I don't really like Yamato. I think Oda really fumbled the execution of this character. Um, but other than that, is that there was a way for Oda to execute this character staying in Wano that could have been really narratively satisfying, which wasn't what we got. So when we talk about the narrative possibilities for Yamato, there were usually like two broadly like two different roads that it could have gone, right? So the road that I proposed in the Sunny 13 video was that um, Odin has these two separate wills that were like conflicting. This will to rule Wano, to rule and protect Wano, and this will to travel the seas. So those were incompatible, and that's why Wano fell to Orochi and Kaido. So we could get a resolution for this conflict with Momonosuke inheriting the will to protect and rule Wano as shogun, and then Yamato could inherit the will to travel the seas with the Straw Hats, right? Um, and that could have been one satisfying way if Oda actually, went and developed Yamato's character so that she wasn't just mimicking Odin. She could be inspired by Odin. We didn't need a completely 180, like some people suggested on her character. Um, she could still be inspired by Odin, just not trying to exactly be Odin, and that would have been good. Or, and here's the different route, the other route that people talked about for Yamato, which was Yamato realizing that she instead needed to do, unlike Odin, she needed to stay in Wano to protect it, right? Realize that was Odin's mistake. And, that would fit in given the fact that Yamato's devil fruit was said to be a guardian deity of Wano, so we have that symbolism, which could have worked very nicely. And in the recent chapters, we got almost like a perfect setup for it, because well, we have the situation with Grimble, right? And quite obviously, it should be obvious for Yamato since he has haki that Grimble did not leave because fucking Momo and the Scabbards. Grimble left because of Shanks. She doesn't necessarily need to know it was Shanks' haki, but she definitely felt that powerful haki, and she should know that Grimble left because of that reason. And then we also have, I think it was in this chapter, we have the Scabbards talking about how Kaido in fact acted as a deterrent for external threats, for external invasions. So we had that so if Oda wanted to go in that direction, if Oda wanted to get rid of Yamato, to me that was a clear and very narratively satisfying way that he could use to get rid of Yamato. So I'm just trying to make sense of why Oda instead chose to. Yeah, I am reading the chat. I can read the chat. Yeah, so yeah, my take was always that Yamato was going to join after Carrot. So then the numbering would be Carrot as the 11th, then Yamato as the 12th, and then Vivi as the 13th. This is not pre-recorded at all, guys. I'm speaking right now. So back to what I was saying. Like if Oda wanted to get rid of Yamato, to me it's weird that he didn't go that route, because that would have been really narratively satisfying, which isn't what he did. So we have two possibilities here. One of them is that it's just shitty writing, which is which is a real possibility, because and to be honest, and I'll get into that later, but I think a lot of the writing decisions here in the end of Wano have been shitty writing, so that'll be just another case of it. But giving Oda the benefit of the doubt that he actually has a plan, he actually has a reason why he went into this, he went with this specific excuse to get Yamato out of the picture. The only thing I can think of is that if he used the Guardian Deity route to get rid of Yamato, that would have been a definitive way to get rid of her, right? Because then Wano would need Yamato's protection until basically the end of the series, because until the world government goes down or gets reformed, Wano would still need Yamato's protection. So Yamato would be out of the picture and only join maybe in an epilogue. But he instead went to this route that Yamato gets to stay in Wano to explore it, which is like a temporary block. Do you get what I'm saying? I think this might be the crucial difference here, because if he chose to go the Guardian Deity route, then Yamato is completely out of the picture for the rest of the series. But he went for like a temporary roadblock. And then trying to make sense of why he chose to do that. The only thing I can think of is the monster trio dynamic. So you think about Jinbei, why it took so long for Jinbei to join the crew, why Oda blueballed us with Jinbei for like 10 years. To me, it's because Jinbei would have messed the monster trio dynamic. Oda really wants to preserve the monster trio dynamic. So if you remember way back in Water 7, when Frankie was introduced, Frankie was potentially a problem to the monster trio dynamic, right? So then immediately in Enya's lobby, Zoro and Sanji get like massive power-ups, and they get clearly portrayed as above Frankie. But then in Jinbei's case, if he would have joined, like right in Fishman Island, he would clearly wreck completely the monster trio dynamic, and most important of all, like even like it would be like having a second Luffy in the crew, right? It would completely ruin the tension, the stakes. Imagine we go to Dressrosa and Jinbei is on the crew, like Luffy and Jinbei completely annihilate Doflamingo. They just clap Doflamingo, and that's that. But even after we have Luffy fighting Katakuri and showing himself to be definitively stronger than Jinbei, still Oda waits more. Oda waits until the Act 3 of Wano to finally reintroduce Jinbei. And, probably not by coincidence, it's in Act 3 of Wano that Oda goes and portrays Zoro and Sanji as Yonko commanders, so definitively stronger than Jinbei. So, what I'm thinking right now, why Oda would choose this temporary way to get Yamato out of the picture, because, like, the thing of exploring Wano, how long is Yamato going to stay exploring Wano? If the Straw Hats take, like, one arc to explore an island, that's typically how it goes, right? One arc per island. Then realistically, Yamato's going to take, what, 1 or 2 arcs to explore Wano? And then if she wants to travel the seas, I don't see why she would want to do it with any crew that's not the Straw Hats, and Luffy made the promise that he would come for her. So, and if you think about it, 1 or 2 arcs that is what would be needed for Oda to significantly, like, power up Zoro and Sanji, so they're definitively like a level above Yamato, right? Because right now, if you go look at it like any power scaling arguments, if you go see any kind of like power scaling ranks, pretty much everyone will have Zoro and Sanji definitively above Jinbei, so that's fixed. But almost everyone will also have like Yamato above Sanji, for example, and then Yamato. It varies. Yamato could be like equal or above Zoro. It depends on how much the power scaler in question wanks Zoro. But she would definitely ruin the Monster Trio dynamic if she joins right now, but not necessarily if she joins 1 arc down the line. Yeah, I also think it's weird that Oda would choose to do this in the final saga. But then again, I'm just trying to make sense of it because I cannot think of any other reason other than just shitty writing for him to choose this specific way to get rid of Yamato, right? Other than it's just being a temporary way to get rid of her, so he can power up Zoro and Sanji and then not mess the Monster Trio dynamic. So that's my take on it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some people see as copium or whatever, but as I said, I don't really care for Yamato that much. But my take is Yamato's still probably gonna join, just like 1 or 2 arcs down the line. Now, about Carrot, which is the mascot of this channel. This might as well be the Bunny Rabbit channel. I might have like more content on Carrot than the manga itself. So, the reason why, let's put it here first, because you guys are probably wondering where the hell is the next video, where the video hasn't come out yet, because I thought I had made it kind of obvious that it's not gonna fit. So Oda said it was gonna be finished. He wanted it to finish in 3 years, but most like realistically it would take 5 years. So we're talking about 3 or 5 years into the end of One Piece. I think that's a realistic time frame. Yes. So back to Carrot. I think I thought I made it somewhat clear that the next video would be on Carrot's backstory. The video on Carrot's backstory in Kaido's Fourth Calamity. So I was working on that, right? And that video was pretty much almost complete. And then fucking chapter 1056 drops. Chapter 1056 drops. And it's like Carrot gets his bullshit role of ruling Zoe. So I was like, yeah, that's not exactly the ideal time to drop this video, right? So I just been waiting. So let's make this clear, okay? If next chapter Carrot joins, and I'm going to explain to you, I'm going to talk to you guys why this might be a very real possibility. If next chapter Carrot joins, then I'll drop pretty much immediately the video on Carrot's backstory. and on and Kaido's Ford Calamity. Not immediately, right? I'll give you some time to read the chapter. I don't want you to be spoiled on Carrot joining because fucking Gabiru dropped the video. You see on YouTube your recommendations is the fucking Carrot backstory video. Then you know Carrot joined before you even read the chapter. But you get what I mean. Um, so, last time we saw Carrot, Inuarashi and Nekomamushi were giving her this role of ruling Zou, which is, complete, complete bullshit. First of all, there was no setup to this at all. Like, Carrot was never once portrayed as a leader. Like, even when she was in the mirror world with Chopper, she was still following Chopper's lead. And like it's Chopper. Like, this is not some great leader, right? So, and their justification for it is that, like the other Minks, she went on this adventure with Luffy and the crew. So, what makes her the most fitting person to rule this nation is that she went on one, I repeat, one, like open paragraph, digit one, close paragraph, singular adventure with Luffy and the crew, and that makes her like fit to rule this nation. I don't know. I don't think Nekomamushi went alone to find Marco. Like, certainly there was some guys who also went with him to the sea. Some other minks, so they should also be qualified. Anyways, the guy who clearly made the most sense to be the ruler of Zou is very clearly Shishilian, right? So Shishilian was the highest ranking mink, other than the dukes themselves. The only guy who had the same rank as Shishilian was Pedro, who's dead. Hopefully, right? I don't. Let's pray we don't see Pedro in fucking Germa cover story. But Shishilian is the highest ranking mink other than the dukes. He's a lion mink, king of the jungle, and also he's also portrayed as a leader. He's been portrayed as a leader throughout the whole thing. And we even have like a passing of the torch kind of moment with him leading the minks during the raid on Onigashima. So yeah, he was the one leading the minks during the raid on Onigashima, while Inuarashi and Nekomamushi were acting as scabbards. So clearly this guy should be the ruler of Zou. Like, I remember this situation with Carrot is so ridiculous. I remember one guy, the Pirate Folk subreddit, say that it was like if Biden resigned and then he chose Selena Gomez as the one who should be his successor for the president of the United States. And I think it's like even more ridiculous than that. It's like if we were back in the Obama era, right? And then Obama resigned and then he chose Selena Gomez to be his successor, but it's like teenage Disney Channel Selena Gomez doing like the stupid like sitcom on which sitcom that she had. I don't remember the fucking name of it that she had on Disney Channel, and that's the next president of the United States. But anyways, despite the ridiculousness of it all, we end on that note with Carrot looking like she doesn't really care too much for that role, that she doesn't really want to be the ruler of Zou, and we end up with her the last panel we see her, she's like really apprehensive. Yeah, the Wizards of Waverly Place. That's good for you, Andres. We end with Carrot being like kind of apprehensive, not really wanting to be the ruler of Zou, and thinking about Pedro's will. Now let's think about what Pedro's will was. So, Pedro, he wanted to join Roger as a child, right? He wanted to join Roger's crew. He couldn't because Roger was running out of time, which is fitting, right? Because Roger was too early to bring the dawn of the world, and of course Pedro is always focused on the dawn of the world, etc. So Pedro wanted to join Roger as a child. Then he goes by himself to the seas as an adventurer, becomes a pirate, goes after the poneglyphs, and then he dedicates his entire life to the dawn of the world. And then right before dying, he talks to Carrot about how the Straw Hats are the ones who will bring the dawn of the world, and how she and the Straw Hats, right? He says you gotta Tachi, so she's talking in plural. She's saying she and the Straw Hats must keep moving forward. Um, so to me, he never once said anything about ruling Zou. So if Pedro's will somehow ends up ruling Zou instead of sailing with the Pirate King and helping Luffy bring the dawn of the world, that's just that would be such a completely bullshit retcon. There's no there's no other way to put it. Like Pedro's will was very clearly to sail with the Pirate King and help Luffy bring the dawn of the world. That was very clearly it, right? Not only that, so he tells Carrot to keep moving forward with the Straw Hats. Meanwhile, after her fight with Perosperos tells Carrot to go back to the woods and chew on some grass. So if Carrot goes back to Zou, instead of, sneaking aboard the Sunny, not only Carrot is not following Pedro's will, she's like following Perosperos' will, right? Perosperos is vindicated in everything he said, pretty much. Um, so and again, it would be very, very terrible writing if that happened. But again, I think a lot of the stuff that has happened recently has been really terrible writing. So that it could be a possibility. Let's be real. But this chapter, you know, putting on top of it all, this chapter character is like nowhere to be found, which is really, really suspicious because Carrot was in the ship for a while. We can forget it sometimes because she was almost completely absent in Wano. But Carrot was in the ship with the crew for a long, long time. Uh, so for her not to get even like a goodbye scene, like not even a goodbye scene centered on Carrot, but like not even included in any panels. I don't know. It would like a panel of the Luffy just saying goodbye to the Minks in general. Just Carrot is there. She's just nowhere to be found, and that is so weird, right? So, you know, we had it's a very real possibility that Carrot agenda is actually quite strong right now. That Carrot will completely do away with his duty of ruling Zou, that she will not accept his role, and that she will sneak aboard the Sunny. As a matter of fact, let me see. You guys see my screen? I'll show you my Okay, I'll show you my very amazing art on Paint. So, as you can see here, this panel from chapter 1057, we see the Straw Hats as they're gonna say their goodbye to Momo, and we have your boy Zoro over here holding Crate Gun. Right. We also see in this panel following it, you see again. This is just from another angle. This is the same scene pretty much. We see the Straw Hats on the deck, and then again we see Zoro over here. Oh, amazing art. Holding Crate Gun. So this crate over here, this crate holds the entire hopes and dreams, okay, of the Carrot fandom. The entire hopes and dreams of the Carrot fandom, they reside in Crate Gun. So that's kind of what I have to say about it. The only last thing that I would say is that, and it was not me that, create jump for the next Straw Hat. it was not me who came up with this, who found this out. There's actually some user in Pirate Folk who, um, it could be Caribou could also be hiding in some barrel. That's a possibility too, because Caribou. Okay, Caribou's not going to join the crew, but he could very well be sneaking aboard the ship too, because we know he wanted to ride out of Wano. Like that was an actual plot point back in during the prison during the prison time. Uh, Anyways, but some user in Pirate Folk actually went looking for like different wordplays, Koroasi, Japanese wordplays, for the following chapters. And for chapter 1058, one of the possible readings is Jugoya. It's like Ju for 10, uh, Go for 5, Ya for 8. And Jugoya is another name for Tsukimi. So Tsukimi, they're like these festivities in Japan, centering around the moon, centering around looking to the moon. I mean, looking at the moon. I mean, Tsukimi literally means moon looking, right? So as you might have guessed, um, Tsukimi is like heavily tied with the idea of with the legend of the moon rabbit in Japan. So it's kind of like if I want to do the pun, want to go the pun route, that'll be like the perfect chapter for character join. And normally I don't put so much weight in this like predictions using puns on the puns of the chapters, chapter numbers and stuff. But things, it does seem like things are like lining up a bit too much. So yeah, um, Garrett very probably joins next chapter, and then if that happens, I'll be posting a video. Yeah, I'll be posting a video on Carrot's backstory and Kaido's four calamities. So you guys can look forward to that or not. Um, what else? Oh yeah, I want to briefly talk about the Tama situation. So the Tama situation, I don't know about you guys, but the whole Tama situation with Luffy making that promise that Tama can join him uh, after she learns ninjutsu and stuff, that to me was always kind of obvious that was the route we were gonna go. Because if you remember, in fact, I had kind of like originally in the script for the 2013 video, I have like a small section that I got deleted because fucking the video was way too large already. I had a small section about why other like candidates weren't gonna join. For Tama, the argument was always that Luffy would make the same promise to Tama that Ace made to her, right? That that Tama can join once she grows up, so not as a little kid. So, probably after the main story has ended, we get like an epilogue. Like I don't know, like 5 years have passed, and then we see, grown up Tama, teenage Tama, on the sunny with them. That was always my view that that's how it was gonna go. So Tama doesn't really count as a straw hat during the main story, but she will probably be on the ship during the epilogue. There was always my view on it. What else is there to talk about? Yeah, so what I think about the future of this series, the future of my channel going forward. So uh, I'm gonna be laying out some criticism here on the current story. So please don't bore to One Piece. I okay. I mean an epilogue, my man. I don't think there will be an actual two piece with Buffy and stuff. Exactly. Um, just like the very final chapter, we have some cringy stuff with like Luffy somewhat, more grown up adult and shit, and there's teenage Tom on the ship. That's it. Um, so I'm gonna be laying down some criticism on the current series. So if you guys, I know some people just prefer, and that's fair. Not really listen to criticism. They would rather just um, Nike Nike Devil Fruit theory. The Nike Devil Fruit. That would be what you got the nicest shoes in the game, or what is the Nike Devil Fruit? Um, yeah, there might be in the future a video where I address the Nika Devil Fruit, um, if I ever get to it. But like, if you guys um, are not really prone to listen to criticism, I get it. You can live. That's perfect. I don't really mind, but I do need to talk about this because it just kind of ties into what's going on in the channel. So, in my view, I think Coder like really, really heavily changed his plans for the ending of Wano, right? And to me, like the greatest hint of this is Hawkins. So like, Hawkins being the 1% man, it's like complete bullshit, complete bullshit. Because during his fight with Killer, we see Hawkins, not even Hawkins talking, we see his internal monologue, and he's saying like once Killer cuts his arm, he says like, "No, this is not damn like this is not what I predicted," and it's like my dude, you predicted that you had like a 1% chance of surviving, but somehow you being at death's door is not what you predicted. Okay. And then when he pulls out the tower card, and we know that represents like an upheaval in the current established order. And somehow he's shocked to see that card. Hawkins is shocked to see this card, that there will be an upheaval in the established order, even though supposedly that's exactly what he predicted. So to me, like the 1% man was always supposed to be a different person, but Oda just kind of rushed the ending of one, so he needed to get rid of that plot line. In fact, he has been getting rid of so many different plot lines, and that's kind of why. That's also part of the reason why um, another video hasn't come out yet. Because it's been like 2 weeks where I haven't really been working on a video, right? The video on Carrot's backstory, it was almost done. I didn't want to publish it because of the timing with chapter 1056, because we were going through this time where everyone was sure that Carrot's not joining. Right now the tides are kind of changing. Right now the Carrot agenda is kind of strong, but whatever. We're gonna wait until chapter 1058. But also, I just haven't been enjoying the last few chapters of Wano. And to me, this YouTube thing has never been in my mind like a career. This is always has been like a hobby to me, right? So I created this channel originally because I was theorizing. I got into theorizing about One Piece as a hobby, and I started making these posts on Reddit, and then eventually I started writing this theory about rocks, and it got so fucking long. It was over this, like it was above the post limit, right, in terms of characters, and so it went into the comments, and like I was like, no one's gonna read this shit. If I'm making theories this long, I might as well make them into videos, because that would be more enjoyable, I guess, and maybe someone will actually watch them. So to me, that's just an extension of that. It's just a hobby, and if I'm not enjoying my hobby, I'm not gonna do it. And if I'm not enjoying One Piece itself, it's very difficult to enjoy doing videos of theorizing about One Piece, right? There's just so many things about One's endings that just make no sense to me. And like as a guy theorizing about One Piece, it's kind of a problem, right? Because if you're theorizing about a series, there are certain One Piece Mate ranking. Actually, after I post the video on Carrot's backstory, the video that I want to get to after that, if I do get to it, would heavily involve cursed swords. So that's one thing. Kind of explain cursed swords and especially what's going on with Enma. So that's interesting. Um, but like, uh, if I'm theory crafting, there are certain things that you 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 have to rely on, right? First of all, you have to rely on the story making sense. Um, and the story just because of course I mean that's just basic. You want with you have to rely on thinking that the future events in the series are going to make sense based on the past events. And right now, because of things like Hawkins being the 1% man, stuff like that, the story just doesn't make a lot of sense. Stuff like the Dukes wanting Kara to be the ruler of wanting Kara to be the ruler of Zoe. Um, this shit just doesn't make any sense. Um, if I think the autonomy theory still has a chance, so I think yes. So even though I think Oda has heavily changed his plans for the end of Wano, and so that has me a bit scared if he would change his plans because no matter even if the theories get completely disproven, if the story goes in a completely different direction, and you might think this is copium or whatever, but I would still believe that the Sunny 13 thing in the autonomy, this were Oda's, even if I don't get everything right, those were Oda's original plans because there's just too much evidence to it, right? But an author can always change his mind. And to me, Oda clearly changed his mind um, on the ending of Wano. Now, the autonomy stuff, that shit is like foreshadowed since the very beginning of One Piece. It's the very beginning. Again, you find foreshadowing for it like in like chapter 8 and in volume 8. It goes so far back. And for Carrot specifically, there's such an astounding amount of foreshadowing for her. To me, if Oda really changes his plans so much on Carrot, that to me would be just baffling. Because quite frankly, I'm not sure what he would do in the final saga then, because I think this autonomy stuff is so incredibly important to the ending of One Piece. What I think, or I originally thought that this stuff would happen in Wano because it was kind of the perfect situation because we need Momonosuke and we need Zunisha, right, for the autonomy stuff to happen. But right now we have the setup for both Wano and Zunisha to become important again because of Pluton, right? So what I'm thinking right now, there are various reasons for this, is that the autonomy stuff will have to wait. That this will probably happen in like the final arc of One Piece during the final war, when we have a situation where Wano's borders are going to be open. That Momo will finally give the orders for Zunisha to open Wano's borders, and that Zunisha will die during this, and that this will be the situation where Carrot will get the autonomy. This is my view currently. I still think it's gonna happen. I just think it's gonna take a while, which makes me sad because I really wanted to see Dio Carrot like as soon as possible, like Zawardo and stuff. Like even other than the memes, it's just a fun ability, I guess. And then you have to wonder what would Oda do, because the autonomy also provided like a way for Carrot to use Sulung at any time. So uh, then he would have to come up with like an alternative way to make her be able to use Sulung without the full moon, right? Because otherwise, it's just way too inconvenient. And there is actually a reasonable alternative way that she would be able to use Sulung at any time, even without the autonomy, and that might become apparent to you guys in the next video. Again, the theory on Carrot's backstory if I post it. Um, God, I went such a long tangent here. Uh, yeah, the Dukes did stow away twice, so I think so. Yeah, I have to rely as a theorist. I have to rely on the story making sense, and it's not really making sense right now. and I also have to rely on like setups having payoff, right? And when we have stuff like in Wano, we have like such obvious setups like Zoro visiting Ryuma's grave, or the Nidai Kitetsu, or Zoro's um, Zoro's lineage that was all hinted at, that was clearly set up, and then it went nowhere. So if I can't rely on like really obvious setups like that to have some kind of payoff, it's kind of difficult to trust anything when theorizing, right? Like what kind of setup can I trust here to actually have some kind of payoff? So, this is why I'm currently have been kind of on a break with the channel. I'm seeing where One Piece will go. I hope that this like last minute changes that I think Oda is going through right now. They're restricted to Wano, and he's not just changing his mind on the broader story. Um, because otherwise it would be just impossible to predict anything. Um, so yeah, hopefully the next arc will be more consistent, will be better. But those are my current views on it. I don't think a lot of people were talking about what the next arc will be. Might as well say that I don't think Elbaf will be the next arc. We'll have Elbaf eventually. Um, but not immediately. I think like if you look at parallels between arcs in the first part of the Grand Line, and in the first and in the New World, you have like clear parallel between like Drum Island and Punk Hazard, right? Have all the snow, you have the themes of medicine, you have the fucking Yetis, like kind of like choppers, like clearly inspired by the abominable snowmen to some extent. Then Alabasta, clearly parallels Dressrosa. Then Skypiea is kind of out there. When we got to Zou, a lot of people were expecting Zou to be a kind of a Skypiea type arc, but then Zou ended up being kind of a like Water 7 type arc, right? Zou mirrors Water 7 a lot more. You have the mirror in between the water fountain and the water filtration structure in the middle of Zou and the rain eruptions. The crew member goes missing, like Robin and Sanji. And then Whole Cake Island's kind of mirroring Enya's lobby, right? The crew goes on to invade this land to rescue this crew member. We get a sad backstory, a dark past, all of that. We get even like reintroduced to Cypher Pope because Stussy from CP0 is over there. And then one, of course, we have the parallels between one and Thriller Bark. So if you think about it, the next arc should probably be somewhat of a parallel to Sabaody Archipelago. So I think a more of a shorter arc, with a lot of tragedy, very rough situation for the Straw Hats. So that's probably where we're gonna go next, because the clear parallel, the more clear parallel to Elbaf would be Amazon Lily, right? So Amazon Lily, the Amazons, though in One Piece the women in Amazon Lily are just normal sized, I guess, as normal as One Piece standards go. But the Amazons are like in mythology like gigantic women and stuff. So you have the parallels between the Amazons and the giants in Elbaf. So that to me this makes the most sense. And then we expect to have, then after Amazon Lily we had Impel Down. So I expect to have some kind of parallels between Laugh-Tale and Impel Down. And then we have, of course, the final Great War, which would be a parallel to Marineford. So that's kind of the way I expect it to go. Sphinx would be very interesting. I hope it is Sphinx, because we know that near Sphinx, in an island near Sphinx, is also where Ace's grave is. I really hope if we get a moment, we could get a moment of like um, Luffy visiting Ace's grave. Also, it would be a reason for Marco to not be present, which was one thing that also made me kind of angry. That there was no goodbye for Marco. Luffy never even met Marco. So if we do go to Sphinx and Marco's over there, that'll be pretty great. So I'd hope it is Sphinx that people are correct on that. But I don't know. It would be at least an excuse to why we didn't have a goodbye for Marco, because we're gonna meet Marco in Sphinx anyways. And then Luffy can finally tell Marco Ace's last words. So that's my hope too, but I don't know. So if I am correct, if I am correct that Carrot is gonna sneak aboard the Sunny, and that if I am correct in my theory about Carrot's backstory, then next arc is when we should get Carrot's backstory, right? So those are my predictions for now. Scopper Gaban in the next arc. I have no idea. I have no idea where the hell Scopper Gaban is. Marco, my man just completely evaporated. Nowhere to be seen. Poor Marco, man. I really like the dude too. I really Weevil is such an interesting, not an interesting character, but it's interesting what Oda will do with Weevil. One of the things that I think about is because we obviously have the clear parallels between like Blackbeard and Rox Zisabek. So I wonder, because Rox had Whitebeard on his crew. So I wonder if somehow Weevil could somehow end working for Blackbeard, because Weevil not only claims himself to be Whitebeard's son, but did say that he has the same strength as Whitebeard in his youth, which is bullshit. By the way, there's no fucking way that this guy would be way more of a threat than he's supposed to be. But maybe he is that strong. I don't know. Key Island. The fuck is Key Island? I have no idea what Key Island is. Yeah, one of the things to think about is that this Weaver is a dark parallel to Yamato. Um, Maybe they have some similarities. I thought Weaver was a joke character. I mean, he kind of is a joke character, but at the same time, this guy to be said to be as strong as Whitebeard in his youth. Like that's something, right? That this guy can be massively important somehow. At least he can be a very strong opponent in the future. But maybe he's just a joke character. Maybe he goes and joins the Cross Guild too. I don't know. By the fucking way, the Cross Guild is like the only good thing to come out of this. I mean, it's a really good thing to come out of these latest chapters, because the Mihawk memes, they're just hilarious. That's the only thing I have to say about that. The minks for pranking carrot. I really hope that it gets revealed that the Dukes never intended for Carrot to become the ruler, and that they knew that Carrot would turn down the position and sneak aboard the Sunny, and that, right? I hope it's something like that, because even if Carrot stows away, I just find it such bullshit that they would choose Carrot to be the ruler in the first place. That's so ridiculous, in my opinion. If Whitebeard was Order 11 in his youth, War is. I think warlord level is not really a thing, right? I mean, sometimes Oda tries to portray warlords as being equals, but he did so in Marineford, but it's kind of bullshit when you have some guy like Mihawk At the same time, you had Crocodile among the warlords. So I mean, it's difficult to say that the Yonko were more consistent in their power levels until we got Buggy. But Buggy's a joke character, so we can still talk about Yonko level. But the warlords are like there's such a huge variance in their power. Buggy to me, help be my son exactly. You know, like Greenbow's introduction, Saibo being the Flame Emperor is hype. I'm one of the. I didn't like Greenbow's introduction because it was just Greenbow's. I felt like Greenbow's dialogue was so corny. It was really forced. Like he showed up and was like, "Hey guys, hey, I'm a bad guy. Also, I'm racist, and you guys have no human rights and stuff." It's like no one asked anything of him, and then he immediately goes on this rant about how the scabbers and people of Wano have no human rights and how he could slaughter them them all and stuff like out of nowhere. I thought it was kind of corny, and also it felt like he was just there just to hype up Shanks for the movie. Shanks was also there for no fucking reason other than this movie. There was no real justification for Shanks to just pull up on Wano's borders and just dip to go chase off Bartolomeo. Sabo being the Flame Emperor, I really like the stuff with Sabo, and Sabo is a really controversial character. We see a lot of people really hating Sabo. I actually quite like Sabo. I've liked Sabo since his introduction, and it's because like a lot of people say Sabo is just a replacement for Ace, but I think they're really different. I think Carrot's still gonna join. Yeah, just talking about that. I think Carrot's probably gonna stow away in the next chapter. We'll see about that. But I think, like, of course, we have like clear parallels between Sabo and Ace, but those are just meant to be nice parallels, such as Sabo eating the Meru no Mi. Those are just nice visual parallels. But as far as their personality goes and their actual characters, they're really different because Sabo is not a pirate at all. To me, it's really interesting that we have this character who's actually in the Revolutionary Army, who's not just doing this pirate stuff for fun, but he actually has like a political goal and stuff. And actually, Sabo, he works as a window for us um, into the Revolutionary Army. So that's what I find. That's what I like about Sabo. I really like that in the Reverie we could like follow his perspective and we could get like view into the revolutionary armies as they were plotting stuff during the Reverie. So yeah, I hope we get more Sabo. The stuff with the Flame Emperor stuff sounds really hype in my opinion. You think Carrot will join? Yeah, most likely Carrot joins the next chapter by stowing away again. Tagrim was playing the bad guy, but had no intention of seeing if one was strong enough to protect himself. That's a real possibility. I hope this is the case. I really hope, because if we take it as face value, the dialogue was really corny. But I also have reasons to believe that Greenball is not really being honest, and I hope this is the case. He was kind of bullshitting, and that was why the dialogue was so corny, right? Yeah, exactly. Sabo actually uses some level of intelligence. That's a nice thing about him. Yeah, in 1057 you can also see like Zoro carrying a crate into the Sunny. So you see like Crate Con hopes all of the hopes and dreams of the Carrot Bros. I want the real context of what happened in the Reverie. Like how did Sabo then escape, and how did Fuji let them? Would Fujitora let them? I don't think Fujitora would let them. Like they're still criminals at the end of the day. Like he let Luffy and Co go because they were doing the job that the world government should do, but It's not the case for. It's not really the case for Sabo and the revolutionaries, right? I don't think he would owe anything to them. Yeah, another thing that I think might be point out that Greenbow is kind of bullshitting us is that uh, you say that Greenbow carries a sword, but he never once uses it. He has never used it at all. Even like back when back in the Reverie, when you see we see like some kind of drawing representing the conflict between Fujitora and Greenbow against the revolutionaries. We see like Greenbow with his fists up. So a lot of people were like, back when this came out, because a lot of people predicted the beforehand that Greenbow would be a samurai. So a lot of people were like, oh, turns out he isn't because he fights with his fists apparently. I find it really suspicious that he has this sword, but apparently he prefers to use his fists, because we know like Fujitora channels his gravity abilities um, through his sword, right? So if he's a sword, even if he has a devil fruit, since he's a swordman, it's still preferable to him. He's still more powerful using his sword. So I wonder if that could be possibly the same case for Grimble. And actually, Grimble could potentially be a lot more powerful than he's letting on. Will Yamato go to the crew before the end? I don't think there's much to explore except for old Wano. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying before, like in the beginning of the stream. It seems like a temporary way to get Yamato out of the picture. It doesn't make sense to me that Yamato would be exploring Wano for like more than 1 or 2 arcs. So to me, it feels like a temporary way to get Yamato out of the crew. So she joins later on when Zoro and Sanji have been powered up a little bit more, and so she doesn't match to the monster trio dynamic. I don't believe. Did who have a sword? I don't even remember. Don't believe. Oh, would that make Blackbeard Uranus the father of the 12 Titans? That is an interesting take. But the stuff regarding uh, Uranus and Blackbeard and all this stuff, that will have to wait. I don't want to necessarily hype you guys, but I like my most massive theory that I have is the theory on the One Piece endgame. So if I do continue on this channel stuff, that should eventually come out. I want to build somewhat to it, and then I'll talk a lot about this stuff, about who the ancient weapons are and stuff, what Blackbeard's role is in all of this, what Emu's role is in all of this. Who has a dagger inside it of a katana shit? That seems really unnecessary. As long as Scar joins, I don't care if Yamato joins or not. That's mood, to be honest. I never heard about this color theory regarding their morals. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think the reason was really the reason it was really unsatisfying for Yamato staying, and I think it's difficult for me to believe that Oda could not come with a better reason, because the fan base had come with like many better reasons for Yamato to stay in Wano. So the only thing I can think about why we would choose this specific reason is that it's a temporary reason to get rid of her. Are you hyped for the next arc? I am kind of. It's difficult to be too hyped because, again, I've not been enjoying the past few chapters. But one of the things that I like the most about One Piece is seeing the different locations, how creative Oda can get with it. So I really excited to see what he has up next in the next island. That's gonna be interesting. Just it would be good to get leave one behind and see if the spacing problems and these last minute changes that Oda did with Wano's ending, that those are left behind in Wano. That the story, goes back goes back in the track for the next arc. Hopefully so. Some fans speculate that Oda is not writing One Piece, but his editors are. I find it really, really difficult to believe, my guy. Like, if it was just for the story, if it was just for the level of the writing, then I'll be suspicious of that too. The problem is Oda does all of the art, and it's really difficult to completely emulate someone's art style. Like, if you want to see what it's like for a manga to be taken over by a different guy, you have to look at Boruto and how shit and completely inconsistent the art of it is compared to Naruto. Like, I think we would be able to tell based on the art that this is not Oda anymore drawing, um, because it still very much looks like Oda's art style. He just has a new editor. He switches editors pretty frequently. There are rumors that the end of the arc was rushed. It pairs up with Film Red. Yeah, yeah. I've seen those rumors. There's actually a statement that Oda managed to line up the ending of Wano so they would line up nicely with, um, the premiere of Film Red. So they don't seem like they were. It doesn't seem like those are just rumors. It makes me a bit mad, but it makes sense given we had Shanks just show up out of nowhere. It makes sense that that's the explanation. I think Carrot's chances of joining like it's like above 50%, but I won't speculate too much more than that. Do you think you'll get a flashback to Zoro visiting Ryuma's grave or Marco Yamato talking to Luffy? I don't think we'll get a flashback to Yamato talking to Luffy. I hope that people are right in speculating that Sphinx is the next island, so then we have a reason to meet Marco. Um, I don't think if we don't meet Marco again, I don't think there'll be a flashback for Luffy talking to Marco, right? If it is really the case that um, we didn't get a reunion with Marco, we're not getting one in Sphinx. I don't think there will be a flashback to it. No, the Ryuma's grave, it's still a possibility. I hope Oda hasn't just completely forgotten this, but maybe uh, there will be some critical moments. I don't know, maybe in a future fight where Zoro has to think about something, and he'll then we'll get some. Maybe we'll get something on Zoro's backstory and Zoro's lineage that was not touched upon really during Wano. That's still a possibility. That's done in a flashback during a future fight. And if I could actually film Red, that would be cool. Yes, exactly. Uh, fuck, I don't think we will ever go. I don't think we will ever come to my country. I'm currently living in Denmark. Uh, yeah, I don't think there's any possibility of me watching Film Red until it's like available in the high seas. If Oda hasn't had Scabbard's too much screen time, would have been perfectly paired with Film Red. Yeah, he wasted. It feels like a lot of. He wasted too much time. Not even with the Scabbards. He wasted so much time in stuff like the Isoni and the Kazembo plot. We might get an Admiral fight. That would be pretty hype. That's a possibility. I didn't even consider it, but yeah. Yeah, the bone plotline, the bone plotline was so stupid because it makes Kaido look like such a brain dead moron. Because like his plan was to like Onigashima was going to explode if he hit the ground with the bombs, right? So Kaido's plan was essentially to like what his plan was to kamikaze the flower capital and just explode Onigashima and all his crews. It makes no fucking sense. Even you have to wait for 2 more months to watch Film Red. At least you have some kind of time frame. I have no idea when I'll possibly be able to watch Film Red. About the Nika stuff. So um, after I get the through the carrot backstory stuff, I want to get started on this series. Be a series of like 4 videos, not as long as the regular ones. I'm not talking about like 4 50-minute videos, right? Like shorter videos, which would be like my like this huge theory on One Piece powers. So like tying everything like haki, the devil fruits, why devil fruit users are weak to the sea, and then I'll finish off like explaining what's going on with the Gomu Gomu no Mi, with the Gomu Gomu no Mi, because I did say in the Sunny 13 video that I believe there's something more going on with it than it just being a fruit with a different name. So hopefully I can get to that. Also, it'll be more just yeah. Yeah, the Kazemo plot to me was the worst part of it was just like it served as an excuse to have Yamato just running around instead of doing something meaningful for her character. Right, we could have gotten some development on Yamato's identity issues and stuff, but instead we just have like Yamato running around the castle. Yeah, the music does sound really good, to be honest. Is Gear 5 Luffy's hybrid form or full zone form? Um, it's got to be the full zone, right? Like Nika's just some dude. Is there really a big difference? Not like he's gonna turn to an animal. It's just kind of weird to talk about hybrid and full zone forms. Um, for example, we don't really talk about a hybrid form for for the Buddha powers. So the next video on Kara's backstory, if I do post it, will be about the same length to the others, like 50 something minutes, maybe a little bit shorter. Um, the one after that, which will be the first part on the theory about powers and stuff, that'll probably be like 20 minutes. It'll be a shorter video. I swear it's actually just coincidence that the videos stand up to be like 50 minutes. I'm not aiming for like 50 minutes. I figured that I have to talk about this stuff, all this stuff in one video because it's all connected. And then it turns out somehow to be 50 minutes. It's just I'm always trying to make it like less than 1 hour at least, because no one's gonna click a video if it's fucking 1 hour. But like 50 minutes, you get psychologically confused to think your mind doesn't see the 1 hour even though it's so close to 1 hour, right? It's like when supermarkets they put like prices at like 99 cents. Your mind doesn't really register it immediately that really it's just $1. It's just $1. Who do you think is the final boss of one? I cannot tell you this now. This is for this will have to wait until my theory of the One Piece endgame. Do you think Kaido and Big Mom are dead, or will they turn up again with the opening of Wano's border and the potential release of Pluto? I haven't. I have no idea anymore what Oda is doing with Kaido and Big Mom. Uh, I don't think they can be just chilling in the lava until Pluton is until Pluton appears, right? Because even if they somehow can resist the heat, would just be like a massive L to Akainu. Um, they still have no oxygen. They're gonna suffocate. Like maybe they got if they're alive, then they got shot out by the volcanic eruption. Then we're gonna see them in a cover story or something. But otherwise, they're dead. They just there's just no way. It doesn't make any sense for them just to be bathing in the lava. Definitely. Okay, so last thing that I probably had to talk about with you guys is another thing about the channel's future, on why I was kind of taking a break. It's also because I'm currently, as I say, this is kind of a hobby. This is just a hobby for me. I'm not trying to make a career of this out of this, and I'm currently doing my master thesis at the same time, right? So I will be doing my master thesis until the end of the year. So during this time, I'll be like very very busy. So if I don't really find it in me to be really working on this, I won't. It's not to say there won't be videos. I'm just saying that they might be. They're not. I'm saying they might not be with the same consistency, even though there was really no consistency to begin with. But you guys get the point. I'll probably be very busy for the next few months with the StreamB archive that just got here and missed the first. I have no. Hopefully so. I have no idea how this stuff works. Can, does anybody know if you have to set something for the stream to be archived or not? I have no idea. I expect Yamato to see Odin in Momo and change of heart. Then she can just inherit the stubbornness of Odin, like ancestral. Yeah, hopefully. Caribou for Straw Hats. It's kind of a meme, but like I don't even dislike Caribou. It's just Caribou is just such an obvious Chekhov's gun, right? The whole thing that he's got to tell someone about Poseidon and Pluto. Most people expect it to be Blackbeard. There are also theories about it being Crocodile, but it's so clear that this guy is shady as hell. But it kind of makes me a bit sad that he's not going to be an ally, because I kind of like lovable scumbags type characters. Usually it's privatized. You should be able to make it. Oh, cool. I was just worried it would just be like, if I didn't save it, it would just be completely deleted. But yeah, I'll make it public. Sure. There's no reason for me not to. Um, Carba is like original Caesar Clown. Yeah, yeah, he has Caesar Clown vibes. I know this is probably why I like Doctor Stone so much. There are um, so many like lovable scumbags in that show. So I always appreciate when one shows up. That was kind of it that I want to talk about. I'm not sure if you guys had any more questions. Otherwise, I'll be finishing the stream, I guess. Kind of surprised that so many people turned up, to be honest. Thanks, Pistolero. Much. Why though? Why? Why would this happen? Why would Ivankov turn Caribou into a woman? Like I can't imagine it. I just don't see the reason. How did they say Yamato fruit was originally planted by the guardian of Wano, which is why he didn't plan for it to eat it, which was another hint of not trying. Yeah, that would be if Yamato had stayed to be a guardian, that would be a really narratively satisfying way for Yamato to be stuck in Wano, but that's not the route that the, that the route that what it chose for her, which is why I find the whole situation so weird. Do you think Marco will fly Kara to the ship? He kind of owes her. I think if Kara joins, she's probably just stowing away in a crate again. So we're all placing the hopes and dreams in CrateCon. You can look at a crate that Zoro is holding in chapter 1057. It would be nice. It would be nice if Marco flies Kara to the ship, because then we get to see Marco, and then Luffy gets to talk to Marco. That would be nice. I don't think Kara being given the position to lead the mix made any sense at all. No. It'd be refreshing to not do the same plot of Stowaway again. So I wouldn't mind. Yeah. To be honest, it'd be interesting to have a different take on it. But I do think it would be funny. Would be wholesome at least if say Carrot stows away and then she's just like, oh, I'm here, and is expecting Luffy and the others to be mad, but like Luffy's just, yeah, we were wondering what the hell where the hell you were, right? And they're just chill with her. That would be kind of cool. Like it's just a given that she, like she thought she was stowing away, but to Luffy it was just a given that she would be there. All right. Yeah, I'd be really sad if she didn't actually say goodbye. What will be this? To me, Shishilian was the clear guy to become the leader of the Minx. They think Pluton will be the strongest weapon ship machine in the series, or Vegapunk will invent. If Vegapunk will invent something more than that, I think we have the setup. Um, I think we have the setup given that like Frankie has the ships. Frank had the ships. Frankie had the blueprints for Pluton. I think we have the setup for Frankie somehow surpassing Pluton. So maybe he adds something to the Sunny that makes the Sunny surpass Pluton somehow. But other than that, I think Pluton will be the most powerful ship, most powerful weapon. Yeah, that thing was actually filler. The thing with Carrot asking to join. Though it is weird that the anime team decided to add that. Shishun's not good at empathy. That's true. Kizaru is Vegapunk. What? Is that even a theory? I've never heard of this. Kizaru is Vegapunk. That would be hilarious though. I wouldn't even be mad. Oh man. Frank is one of the most consistently likable characters, I think. He's never like he's very difficultly like someone's favorite, but there's very few reasons to not like Frankie, I guess. Yeah, they know stuff ahead of the manga, but that seems a bit too much. Kizaru's Vegapunk's clone. Man, this is only getting weirder. What the hell? has something to do with the pacifistas all having Kizaru's laser. It just it's weird that they mentioned that they talked about that being Kizaru's power. It's just a laser beam. It is weird. Anyways, I guess yeah, that's probably it for this stream, guys. I guess thank you guys for showing up. This has been pretty enjoyable, actually. Um, so yeah, that'll be it for now. I guess we'll wait until next week, until this week actually, till Friday to see if Garrett joins or not, and then we'll see if the Carrot backstory theory will see the light of day. Until then, that's about it. Ciao, guys. Yeah, take care.